Hey there guys, Sancha here. I figured I would go ahead and make what I would consider my tier list for the classes strictly in PvP after playing closed beta 1. This is in no way a reflection of the game state itself. This is personally just my opinion and how I feel all the classes kind of stack up against each other. So let's just get right into it. So, let's go ahead and start here at the bottom of C. Um, in actual PvP, I would probably go ahead and just stick the Reaper down here in C. Don't get me wrong, I think Reaper potentially is very strong. I just honestly don't see it right now. They have very good CC, but the damage is really lacking. I honestly think they need a slight buff. Healer Reaper is actually kind of insane at times because you essentially have to try and kill them twice. Um, they have that kind of like that reset even after they're down, and their healing output is actually pretty decent as well, especially being able to put the flowers down. And you know, I consider that really good healing overall, just because they can put it down and still continue to be mobile while they're trying to do that. But as far as pure DPS spec, I just feel it's a little bit lackluster. I definitely am on the train of I think they need to be buffed, and especially since they're supposedly supposed to be the assassin class because they're the only ones that can stealth. Um, I just feel like it's just not there right now. I honestly have hopes for them in the future, and maybe in other content patches they'll increase their damage or give them a buff, even in the possibly of the Western release. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not quite 100% sure either on the status of the um, servers overseas, as far as because I know this game's been out for probably about 2 years, I believe it was, before it came over here for the West. I'm not sure as far as the state goes of the Reapers over there. If somebody wants to chime in the comments, please feel free to do so. All right, and then up in, I would say in B tier, I'll probably get a lot of flame for this, but I don't know why. But I feel like in B tier I put Berserkers. The reason I put this in is, at least from all the ones that I played against, for the most part, they could have just all been bad because I know people are learning the game. I put them in that because the main ones I played against were the Phantoms, where they have to do a lot of setup in order to do their big combo. And in my opinion, when I was facing off against them, it wasn't that difficult to avoid it. And yeah, I mean, there were times I did get caught and it paid off for them, but I just feel like it's just too susceptible to, you need to have the correct setup and you need to have the right timing, as well as you have to basically catch people off guard and unaware of the situations going around them for them to really shine. Not saying, like I said, that they're not capable of doing whatever they need to do. I just found that I was always able to dodge the Phantoms 9 times out of 10 or get out of CC in time before ever getting essentially one-shotted by their Phantom damage. Um, Other than that, that's where I think that they necessarily fall. I also kind of put, I'll be honest, I didn't play against summoners too often because there wasn't abundance or presence of them right now in the first closed beta. Like I said, my opinion will probably change again after this next coming week, starting June 1st, when I get to go back in and just start hammering more and more of threes. Um, but that's just gonna kind of where I'm gonna put summoner right now. I can't really go into full detail about them. So if somebody also wants to inform me more about summoners, like I said, feel free to let me know. I'm more than willing to hear criticism as well as hear people out and explain more on their position of where people should necessarily fall in place of the game, or maybe even people that have played the overseas can chime in as far as where they think the state of PvP is as well over there. Um, I haven't really been able to get a hold of overseas players, which I really wish I could. Um, Now A tier, I definitely put myself, which was a spell sword. Um, love spell sword. I actually do. I love it. I had a lot of fun playing it. The PvP I felt really good, especially in group PvP. Even in threes, it felt really strong. I'm probably just at least, you know, I'm okay for the game just being in it for the last 4 days. I plan on trying to get better. I'll be honest, I was originally thinking about re-rolling to Spearmaster when I was seeing some of the crazy damage that they were doing. But once I started to know what to look for, it's a lot easier to watch out for one-hit combos and one-hit wonders just coming through. So I'm going to go ahead and put my own spell sword here in the A tier for right now. Um, until I learn more, of course, Spearmaster I'm going to go ahead and put in the S tier because they don't need as much setup as Berserkers. So that's why I'm just going to go ahead and put them in the S tier, because I feel that Spearmasters are, for the sake of argument, a no-brainer class right now. They don't need a lot of setup. They can pretty much just go in. Non-experienced players as well, if they just happen to get lucky, they can one-shot off players in the beginning of PvP. Once I learn more of playing against them, I'm sure. I practice actually a lot of just one-on-one duels just to kind of see their charge ups and like what necessarily they're looking for to try and knock off that. I actually don't know the name of the skill, but it's basically, they pull you down, they put you down, and then just crit for like insane damage of ranks. I think I saw crits upwards of like 6.5 to 7, maybe even an 8,000 one time. I just knew that I was dead before I knew what happened when I first started PvP especially. And then Bard, I was going to go ahead and place here with my own in Spell Sword. Bard is very strong, especially Healer Bard. And the I'll be honest, I think it's called Note Harmony. That skill, when I believe they consume all the songs currently, and they just do an insane amount of damage as well, and I believe it stuns the target. Um, Once again, Bard, I feel like is going to be a very strong contender. I definitely think like you'll see a lot of these combos in the threes upcoming. I honestly played Ranged Sword Artist for the first closed beta. Also, I didn't have enough of PvP seals to basically redo my gear to try out Bladestorm. I'm definitely curious to try that out solely because it looks pretty strong and it looks actually like a lot of fun. So I'm definitely excited to try it. Um, like I said, originally I was thinking about rolling Spearmaster, but I think after consideration, I'm just not going to. I honestly think it's probably going to be quote-unquote flavor of the month, especially at launch. But I feel if I work pretty hard at Sword Artist and just stick with it and just become proficient with the class that I have at least been enjoying off the bat. I'll be honest, I actually originally wanted to play Archer and then found out for the Western release it was not going to be around. So more than likely, I'll probably reroll to Archer when it's available, but I'm also thinking I might just stick out Spell Sword because I actually do like the playstyle. I actually enjoy it a lot. I'm learning more and more every day that I was playing the closed beta. Especially I feel sword artists, or even spell swords in general, are pretty strong in the sense of we have a glyph that gives us double CC break and the immune for 6 seconds, which I'll be honest, it wasn't until I got in the upwards of like the 1600 rank in PvP that I realized that there was a glyph to get a second charge. So I was being an idiot all throughout my first phases of PvP. So once I learned that, I basically almost boosted all the way up to close to 1800 on the rankings after I had gotten that second glyph, because once I could break out of CC double, it was a lot harder for them to take me down. So yeah, that extra charge definitely saved lives over countless queues basically. So I was really happy to figure that out. And like I said, this is a personal preference of where I think the hierarchy is of the classes right now. Like I said, I'm definitely hopeful that Reaper will get some kind of buff in the near future, some kind of balance, because every Reaper player I've talked to, especially in my own guild, um, a lot of them actually got burnt out during closed beta, and I think it's solely because they started with Reaper, but I think because they were expecting X and you know, they got Y instead of X, and they were expecting a lot more damage. And so basically after they said they hit like level 20, I think, is when leveling really started slowing down, and everybody else was just plowing past them and getting to student 1. 6-7 hours before they were even able to, and so that was just kind of a drag for them. So they kind of just got burnt out on that front. Overall, I will probably level every class that there is, just because playing it even as a casual on all the other classes, it will still help me learn as a player to look at mechanics, look at their skills more in depth versus just physically seeing what I'm seeing, but being actually able to play with them and just kind of see the skills and know what they do and their cooldowns and kind of rates that they're going to do. So that's just basically what's going to probably look like after that point. So that's where I think it all sits. So I'm just going to go ahead and probably call it there. If you guys have any comments, just go ahead and comment below and let me know what you guys think about the rankings and possibly where you think they might be in the near future or maybe even at launch. See you later.